And we are live. It's great to be doing a live show once again here with the Glory Glory podcast. And I'm your host, Kyle Quinn. And joining me today to discuss the conclusion of United's pre-season tour, in which United were the winners of the summer series in the Premier League and collecting our first trophy of the season. Brush, how's it going?
uh, I mean, it might be the only trophy we collect, but yeah, I can't believe it's come and gone in a flash. The season starts in just 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close to the serious business now. And one more preseason game to go, and that'll be a home match against Fiorentina. But first of all, we will reflect on the US tour, and then we will look at the latest transfer news, of course, and only one man dominating the headlines at the moment. So, United, two wins and a draw from the preseason tour. Lots and lots of positives from an attacking point of view, but some defensive negatives in there as well. Um, Yeah, but overall, I would say it was a 7 out of 10. That would be my. And if you'd have told me before the tour started that it would be a 7 out of 10 tour for United, then I probably would have taken that. But slightly disappointed that we didn't get 3 wins out of three with that frustrating 2-each draw with Everton. Brush.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the main thing with this is really fitness, isn't it? So I'm glad we got that under the way. You know, um, but in terms of the performance, though, there was definitely signs of fluidity that I was quite impressed by. Going forward, a few of them, their movement in and amongst each other looks really good. The only thing that really needs to sharpen up is in the final third, the finishing. But I'm sure that will come with time. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I have to say the quartet of Ahmad, Mambumo, Kuna, and Bruno Fernandes looks like a mouthwatering prospect. Very, very fluid, as you say. A bit like PSG. Well, of course, we're not as good as that yet, but it's a similar kind of forward line without the traditional number nine. Lots of movement. That's a fluidity, and yeah, it's really exciting to watch at times. Um, but yeah, even Kuna's finishing after a lovely move wasn't perfect. So yeah, there's lots to work on there, and of course, I think we're still looking at all the frailties where you see Ugarte losing the ball and that costing us a goal. Some
hmm
bizarre own goals by United in this tour as well. Even Ahmad kicking the ball up heaven and then at the edge of the area and then ends up trickling past Bayendier. Bayendier was definitely the most negative part of the tour. He was terrible, to be honest. I thought Tom Heaton was better than him, and if we had to choose one of them, then Tom Heaton would be starting. So, in terms of what we need after watching the tour, it's nothing's changed. We need a goalkeeper, a number nine, and a midfielder. Brush.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. So as the good thing is obviously the forward line has made a huge difference. Um, but yeah, the lack of a clinical finisher is clear to see. Cunha looked very uncomfortable in that striking role. I prefer him on the left hand side. The imbalance in midfield, but we've known that for a long time. Um, yeah, the goalkeeper, as you say, is a huge issue. For me personally, I think we could do with a centre half as well. I just think there's going to be a bit too much pressure on Heaven. Um, Against Bournemouth, I have to say Luke Shaw did pretty well. But with Luke, 1 second he's making a fantastic tackle, and the next he's on the floor, and you're wondering if he's going to get up again. So that's my worry with him. You can't really rely on him given the injury record. So I wouldn't mind another centre half coming in.
Yeah, but I think it's pertinent to expect three signings, but four, I would say absolutely no chance.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It depends if there's anything left in the kitty. Yeah, it doesn't have to be an expensive one. Just cover, really. I just think Heaven could get exposed a bit. Like, obviously, he's a talent, but I think there's a bit too much pressure on him.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be making him first choice at the moment. It's hard to
Yeah,
know.
if you think back to the game against West Ham, the goal that we conceded, where he kind of got caught out on that left hand side, I think a more experienced defender, blocks that.
Yeah, Although he was up against Jared Bowen, who is a quality player. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's hard to know what Amram's thinking is in terms of his first choice backline, because we've seen all different combinations over the course of the tour.
Hmm.
My guess is that it would be Delict in the middle, then a Yao on the right, and then either Martinez or Heaven on the left, or Luke Shaw on the left. Yeah, there's lots of options in that position, I suppose. Maguire obviously will always be in with a shout in terms of the middle spot, but I think Lani Yaro has that right-sided spots. He's made that his own. There's no doubt that he's going to be, whenever he's fit, he's going to play every game. I don't think there's any doubt about that for me. He was another massive bright spark of this tour. He is an
Oh,
ex.
he's been brilliant, hasn't he? Yeah, mature well beyond his years.
Yeah, not only the pace that he has, his tackling ability, the recovery pace, but also the distribution. Absolutely brilliant. When him and Martinez are both in the same 11, to have two defenders who can break the lines with their passing is going to be amazing. So
Yeah, on either side as well. It's going to be real interesting that.
yeah, I just want to quickly go to a comment here from a Spurs fan. And every Spurs fan that leaves a comment always says hashtag leave you out. We're not going to get into the Spurs politics on this show at the moment now, but he says, are you guys confident of beating Arsenal in the first game of the season? Hell no, is what I would say to
Hell
that
to the no is the answer
one.
to
Yeah.
that.
I tell you what, I would take a draw right here, right now in that game.
Yeah, yeah,
But
same.
do you know what? I don't think we'll lose, because Arsenal have had a dreadful record at Old Trafford for the best part of 20 years. Even last season, they didn't win at Old Trafford. So I think United would probably get at least a draw in that game, Brush.
We should do. Obviously, first game of the season, it's important to set pace. But
Yeah, and
they arrived there with all kinds of reinforcements, including Victor Gyökeres.
who he had a 20-minute cameo against Spurs in a preseason friendly. I don't
Oh,
think.
it was a shocking cameo, wasn't it? The timeline was going crazy about it, making all kinds of memes and whatnot.
Yeah, and I heard someone else's that look, Kai Havertz usually has about 30 touches in a game, whereas Gyökeres will have about 4 touches, and you'd hope to get 2 goals out of that. But if he doesn't get 2 goals or even one, then he's not going to be that useful. He's probably going to change the whole way that Arsenal play,
Hmm.
because he doesn't get involved in the play that much. He's just an out and out striker. So yeah, going from Havertz to Gyökeres is really going to change how Arsenal play, and it may or may not work out. But then people said that about City with Haaland coming in, and that didn't matter a jot, did it?
Oh, he's an absolute cyborg, that guy. I mean, in a bad
Yeah,
season last season, he got what, 22 goals?
yeah. It felt as if he had a poor season, but he didn't statistically.
Yeah, no, yeah. Statistically speaking, 22 in a season is still pretty damn good. And I think he's on course to break the 100 Premier League goal barrier as well this coming season. I think he's on like 85 in 3 seasons, which is insane.
Yeah. Um, what's great for us is that only 3 players scored more Premier League goals last season than Mbeumo, and that's Salah, Haaland, and Alexander Isak. So that's pretty impressive. So we've got the fourth highest goal scorer in the league last season coming to us, and obviously Kuna got 15 goals last season himself. So a massive boost to our front line. But these two will also bring assists as well. Um, Another thing I want to touch on is that Patrick Dorgu has had a marked improvement in preseason. It's only preseason, of course, but compared to what we saw from Dorgu at the end of last season, I think he looks better. He looks like a more offensive player. He's getting forward a lot more, and
Definitely looks
he
quite
scored.
strong as well. He's strutting forward, getting involved in attacks. It's somewhat fortunate with his finish, but it's nice to see if he can
Yeah,
work on that a little bit as well. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, he bungled it in. Like he kind of semi scuffed it, um, but it wasn't exactly a Nuno Mendes finish.
No,
We
listen, as long as they find the back of the net, we're happy. So in the league, if he could do that a couple times a season, you certainly won't see me complaining.
Yeah, yeah. If he can contribute, even 3 or 4 goals, that would
Hmm.
be a real help to us. We only got 44 last season. I'm hoping we can go up to 74 at least in this campaign. I'm not expecting 100 yet. Like the Fergie days. That's asking a bit much. Um, but yeah, it definitely lots of positives in the tour. Um, but one thing that confused me is where was Mazarahi? Um, I didn't see much of him at all on this tour. Do you know why?
Yeah, definitely. No idea. No idea.
Um,
Why wouldn't see much of him? Ahmad as well, as always, I thought was a bright spark. Probably our most exciting offensive weapon on that right hand side.
yeah, and it looks like he is going to play right wing back as we all suspected. Um,
Yeah. See, I don't know how I feel about it because I think that's an odd starting position for him. Because every time I saw him do anything good, he was in that sort of right 10 position for me. But hey, if you can sort of intertwine and change and do what he's been doing, then I won't complain.
yeah, I do think at times, when we're playing the likes of Arsenal, City, Liverpool, it'll be
Hmm.
a big gamble to play him in that role. So maybe a more
Yeah.
defensively minded player might slot in. In
Yeah, that's the thing. Like all the things I like about what he's doing, it comes in the final third. So it would make sense to play him as the right 10. But as you say, against the bigger teams, as a wing back, it might be a liability. But then we don't really have any other out and out wing backs either. If you take him out, it's going to have to be Dallo or Mazraoui.
yeah, Dallo and Mizrahi, yeah, who are fullbacks, and
Hmm.
yeah, and Ahmad is a winger slash number 10. So as you said, there's no specialist in that
Yeah.
area. But Diego Leon has been pretty good on the tour as well. When he's played, he played a huge role in Ethan Williams's goal against Bournemouth, and I, he went on a great run, and then he fell over. And
I think that's what people remember him for from this tour, the little roly poly. Yeah, I've seen a few video edits of it as well, just going down like he's been shot. But yeah, interesting.
yeah,
Very powerful, isn't he? Obviously, he's quite stocky built, and that you wouldn't think he was 18.
no, yeah, he looks about 25, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Y-
yeah, yeah. We obviously need to see more from him. But what I did see, I liked. I thought it was quite bright. He
yeah,
looked lively.
Ugarte was one of the people online who was memeing memeing that clip of a sniper shooting Diego Leon. Um, so yeah, he did really well to get to the edge of the area, and then he fell over. But thankfully, the ball fell to Ethan Williams, who finished really nicely.
Yeah, yeah, it
Uh,
was very fortunate. It kind of it brought me flashbacks of when we had Javier Hernandez. You'll remember some of the unorthodox goals he scored. Sometimes it looked like he slipped and it come off his face and stuff, the back of his head with headers, you know.
yeah,
So hopefully it's something similar with Leon.
yeah. So, do you see him challenging Dargu for that left wing spot?
I don't see why not, but even with Dorgu, like we've seen, it's taken him, that half a season to really settle. So I would still expect Dorgu to be the main man as he's still learning that role. But I think he's now probably the most advanced in learning that role because he's had, since January to adapt and really understand what it is that Amram wants.
Yeah, I would fully expect Dorgu to be the first choice against
Hmm.
Arsenal. Diego Leon might get opportunities in the likes of the League Cup, and we will have a League Cup in August, and most people probably forgot about that due to the no European football. So yeah, Leon will, in terms of him, it'll be a gradual process. Nothing much will be expected of him in his first season, and then next season and beyond, he'll be looking to really push to get a starting place in 11 once he matures and adapts to English football. But I'm not expecting him to pull up any trees in this season.
Yeah,
Um,
same here. I expected mostly to see him in cup games. Um, I suspect that even when he wants to switch out Dorgu, it might be Dallo that slots in as the secondary choice. So yeah, but yeah, I'm sure he'll have opportunities though as the season goes on.
Another thing that I noticed about this tour was that Xerxes didn't play no part in it. I have heard that he is injured, and
Mm.
he is back in training, and Martinez is back in light training as well. But I heard nothing about Mizrahi being injured, so it seems to have confused a lot of people as to why he's not really been part of this tour. Um, yeah, and that brings me on to the manager's sit down with the United core press during this tour. I think it was last Friday. He did a like a 20-minute segment, and he told the reporters that there is a group of leaders that he has designated himself in the dressing room, and obviously the other reporters like, oh, who's that? Who's that? He's like, I knew you were going to ask that, and then he said that the group of leaders are obviously Bruno Fernandes. He said Dallo. Um, he said Mazrahi. Uh, um, who else did he say? He said Tom Heaton, which might surprise few people, but that not because of his age, but because he's like the third choice goalie. And Harry
Mm.
Maguire, I think, was the other one that he mentioned. Yeah, so those who those are the players that he's designated as his dressing room leaders.
It makes
And
sense to be fair because obviously there's the Portuguese connection with Bruno and Dallo, and then the other two as well, just in terms of experience and being the elder statesman in the squad.
Mazrahi is an interesting one. I think it's because
Yeah,
the manager really likes his character and thinks that he's a good influence
yeah.
on the rest of the squad. I would have thought that maybe Delict would have been one, but
Mhm.
apparently not because he has experience of being a captain at
Yeah,
other clubs.
yeah. I mean, he became a captain at Ajax when he was what, like 19. So yeah, you'd think naturally he would be up.
No, but he didn't mention his name.
Mhm.
Yeah, I suppose that goes some way to explaining why Tom Heaton is being kept. We were confused on this show, and many people were.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand it. I thought surely you give that third spot to one of the youngsters like Nathan Bishop or something. Uh, I certainly hope they reduce the wages he was on because I know on his prior contract he was on about 45 grand a week, which for a third goalie is a bit insane.
Yeah, if he's effectively just going to be like a coach or like
The Lee
a
Grant role, where he used to
yeah
just put the cones out, clap people on.
yeah, then he shouldn't be paid 45 grand a week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because in contrast, Bayern Deer is on 25, so I thought that was a bit mad, considering he's higher up the pecking order.
Yeah, but having said all that about Heaton, if if we had to go with the group of keepers that we have at the moment, Heaton would be my first choice. That's
Yeah, yeah. Reluctantly, yeah. We don't have a decent keeper between any of them, do we? But yeah, I think you're right. I'd probably have to agree.
what do you make of the links to Donnarumma? Is that just pie in the sky stuff?
I think so. Yeah, I think people have just put two and two together, obviously, because PSG have signed a new goalkeeper from Lille, and Donnarumma's contract is up in a year's time. So I think it's a mixture of the two things. Um, I certainly don't mind the links. We could, do someone of his caliber, but someone of his caliber costs serious money, even if they're on a free. I suspect he would want high wages and a high sign-on fee. He's formerly a Mino Raiola client as well.
So he is entering the last year of his contract at PSG, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, they haven't struck an agreement on a new deal. Perhaps he's posturing and looking for.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance of that. I mean, I know when Mino was still around, they got into contract disputes with AC Milan twice. First holding the club to ransom initially, and the second time they just said no and let him leave for free.
But if he doesn't sign a new deal, Lille
Hmm.
or PSG have already signed, or they're going to sign a goalkeeper from Lille,
Yeah.
um, and they would be keen to sell him if he's not going to sign a new deal, and it would only be 30 million. I thought you could talk about one of the best keepers in the world here. If
Mm.
United could get you could even say the best keeper in the world for 30 million pounds. I'd be like, forget signing the striker and midfielder. Let's get this done. Because
Yeah, if it was possible, yeah, it would be a huge upgrade on what we have.
because I feel if we had a really super confident goalkeeper,
Yeah,
we would if we got Donnarumma, we would effectively bringing in another Van der Sar or Schmeichel. That's a game changer for United right there.
definitely. I mean, when I've seen Donnarumma, there's certain times when he does things that annoys me, but it's night and day, like compared to what we have. It would be a huge upgrade.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable shot stopper as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's won everything in the game. He's nothing to
Hmm.
prove, really. So
Yeah, yeah, very experienced as well. And still quite young. How old is he? Like 25,
26,
26,
26, yeah.
26 years old. So yeah, that's amazing. He's
Yeah,
still got his best years ahead of him.
I think he became Milan's number one when he was about 18.
Yeah.
That's why it feels as if he's been around a long time.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I also have to give a mention to Mason Mount's goal. That back to
That
goal,
finish. Oh,
yeah, that back to goal swivel and then curler into the four corners becoming his
yeah.
trademark finish now.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? We just need to see it during the season a couple of times. With him, like we've always said on here, like he's very much an Amarin player. He fits the system and style and what they're trying to do. Injuries is the only thing that can stop that guy. We just need him to have an injury-free season.
Yeah, but yeah, please, please, because I tell you what, pretty much since March he's been fit. So
Hmm.
that is breaking records in terms of his career at United so far. He's never been fit that long. He's effectively been fit now for almost 6 months. He was barely fit for 6 days in his first season and a half at the club. So if
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully,
that,
yeah, big season for him coming up. But yeah, if he keeps doing stuff like that, then people will stop debating if he should have the number 7 shirt or not.
yeah, I still think that was a mistake to give him that, um,
Yeah, yeah.
putting unnecessary pressure on him,
Hmm.
especially given what has happened before with that shirt. I don't think that was the right thing to do. But maybe he wanted it. He wanted the pressure, but he
Yeah,
hasn't been.
definitely. But now it's a situation where now that you're giving it to him, you don't want to strip him of it because then that will just
No,
kill any kind of confidence.
no, absolutely don't do that.
Yeah,
Valencia was different in that he gave it up, which was bizarre.
he gave it back after a season. He said,
Yeah.
"No, I'm going back to 25."
Um. Now, positives are obviously Bruno, Kuna, what we saw of Mbumo in that 45-minute cameo. Um. Obviously, Laniaro and Diallo, massive positives. The improvement of Dorgu, menus look really good in flashes. But some of the negatives I have to touch on are Manuel Ugarte. Um, the way he lost the ball there, like like he did against West Ham last season in the Premier League,
Yeah.
and it cost us a goal. You do not want your defensive midfielder losing the ball just outside your own area, because if he
Hmm.
does, it's probably going to result in a shot on goal. And so he needs to cut that out of his game and be more alert to what's around him.
Definitely, definitely
Mm.
something that we need to address.
And this comes back to what I was saying in previous shows, where I'm not 100% convinced about Manuel Ugarte. Um,
Yeah.
in some games he looks really good. I think there was one of the tour matches. It might have been the first one where him and Menu looked like a really good combination.
Hmm.
And yeah, he won a tackle high up the pitch. Then he nutmegged someone. Then he played the ball to Diallo, who scored, but then it was ruled out
Yeah.
for offside. And that was what we want to see from Ugarte. But losing the ball
Hmm.
at the edge of his own box, he can't be doing that. That's just
Yeah.
unacceptable.
I'll tell you
Uh,
what. So I was listening to some of the content the other day, from KG, who obviously was over there on tour, and he spoke to Stephen Howson, and Howson mentioned that he got a chance to speak to Amarim directly and asked him about the midfield, and apparently Amarim said what he would like in the two midfielders, and it's not something that we currently have at the club. So the positive is that the manager's not happy either, so he's not oblivious to the issues.
Yeah, well, the manager has said during the course of this tour that
Hmm.
the midfield has lacked pace. And
Yeah, yeah. So the manager's fully aware that he hasn't got what he wants in the middle of the park, and he, just like us, would like, ideally, a different 6 and 8 combo, but we just don't have it. So I think it's one of those where it's going to be makeshift for another season, and then
mm,
next summer that'll probably get addressed.
yeah, I agree. But why did we spend so much money on Ugarte last season if he's not going to be first choice? You know,
Yeah. Oh well, different manager, isn't it? So.
yeah, but apparently he didn't want him either. He wanted to keep McTominay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you have to ask questions of the decision makers. Um, Also, another thing you would have noticed on preseason as well, these halftime interviews. They spoke to Omar Barada yesterday, and he said
Mm,
Jason Wilcox and a team are back home working around the clock. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well.
that's right. He said that there's been a lot of late night phone calls and early morning meetings
Hmm.
um, that are still taking place, and they're working around the clock to get deals done. So
Yeah.
it's normally the club in the past they wouldn't have commented on what they're doing in transfer market. So it's
Hmm.
good for him to give some kind of update there. And it's the last thing you want him to say is that we've concluded our transfer business. So uh, I'm glad
Yeah,
that he
that's the
didn't say
last
that.
thing. That's the last thing we need. So yeah, it'll be nice as well to get one or two outgoings. The Anthony one irks me because Betis haven't put in a bid, and I think he's doing everything he can to try and get himself back there. I think he's rejected other offers and that as well in favour of a return to Betis, which is fair enough, and he's even willing to take a pay cut. We just need them to stump up some sort of cash and an actual offer.
Everything I'm seeing is that they're holding out for a loan deal at the end of the window.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah, because at the moment, I think the offers that he's had, some of them are from Brazil, and there's been inquiries from Saudi
Saudi.
as well. Yeah.
But if him and Real Betis are in cahoots in trying to force United to agree a last minute loan deal when we're desperate to get rid of him at the end of the window, I would rather keep him or else loan him
Mm.
somewhere else. I'm not having that. I
To be honest, I just think he's done that Brian and Bomo thing where he's just, he's quite happy there, and that's where he wants to go back to. I think it's more so on the part of Betis, though. Betis know what they're doing. I think they're waiting until later in the window so they can try and
but
maneuver another loan deal instead of paying
I'm
up.
I'm sick of being treated like a bank or a mortgage lender by other clubs.
Yeah.
Um, we've already loaned out Rashford with a
Hmm.
option to buy, so I'm not loaning out anyone else. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
like look, and Real Betis sold two players for good money. Why aren't they stumping up the
Exactly.
cash?
And they haven't stumped up for him. Yeah, but they've made other signings though. So you got to question that as well. If they want him that badly,
Yeah,
surely you can come up with the money.
yeah, yeah. They're just treating us like mugs, and that's this is why I'm
Hmm.
saying that uh, out of spite, I would loan him to somewhere else, or else keep him, make him rot in the reserves because I'm just not having this from a club treating us this way. They think what we're just that we should just bow to their demands, and you know what, it's behaving like scroungers. That's what it is, and I'm just not accepting that. We want to get players off the books. We want transfer fees. Why should we have to loan out all the players we want rid of? That's just absolutely stupid.
Yes, unfortunately, it's a symptom of past mistakes in terms of some of the contracts we put these guys on. It's what makes it difficult to shift. It is quite annoying though when you turn on the news and you see all the business and outgoings at Chelsea.
Yeah,
They seem to get decent money for everyone.
yeah.
Uh,
And Liverpool as
Even
well.
Armando Broja, I'm hearing 20 million to Burnley.
Yeah.
When was the last time he played for them? I don't think he's played for them in a year.
Liverpool got 75 million euros for Diaz, and
Yeah,
they're
that's insane right there. Yeah, a player that they didn't want, 28 years old, not been in the best of form, and yeah, 75 million euros.
and they're going to get big money for Darwin Núñez as well from one of the Saudi clubs. So
Mm, hmm
uh, they're
It
much
pretty
better.
much funds Isak, doesn't it? It's disgusting.
It does, yeah, yeah. Um, that's an absolute uh, certainty, I think, because
Yeah.
Newcastle are not going to keep an unhappy player when they're being offered stupid money.
No,
Uh, and,
especially when he's been left out of the tour and stuff as well.
uh, but yeah, I'm just my views in Real Betis are that if you can't afford the player, then you can't buy him. Sorry,
Yeah,
um, you can't afford him, you can't have him. That's the way I see it. You can have
yeah,
one loan.
basically.
You can have one loan
Yeah.
of one season or one half a season. That's okay. But then after
The
that, you
only
have
other
to buy
way it
him.
works for me, the only other way it works is with an obligation. But then even with
Yeah,
that, we've been burnt. So lessons have to be learnt from the Sancho's deal.
yeah.
There can't be an out of an obligation unless it's a ridiculous amount. So then they have to weigh out the pros and cons and think,
Yeah.
"Do you know what, we're better off just signing him."
Because of the Sancho situation, I
Yeah.
no longer even believe that obligations even exist anymore. I,
To be honest, I think it can be reworked so that the termination fee is higher. If that's the case, then I certainly wouldn't mind.
yeah, but I feel that you can loan a player once to a club, and then after that loan has ended, they either buy him or they shouldn't get another loan deal. And
Yeah.
that's the way I view it. You know, we are we are not a money lender. You know,
Hmm.
you want him to play for your team, then you buy him and you pay his wages. Simple as that. So
Definitely.
so another negative of the tour, as I've said earlier, is the goalkeeper situation. Tom Heaton obviously outperformed Bayindir. Bayindir was terrible, to be honest. A lot of the goals he could have saved.
Hmm.
Um, he just he just looks like a guy. He just doesn't belong there, and he doesn't
Yeah.
look confident. And yeah, only United could have an even worse keeper than Onana on their books. You
Hmm.
know, and then sometimes you hear these headlines like Man United, uh, you know, have a major boost that Onana is back in training, or Onana could return for first Premier League game against Arsenal. And you're like, what kind of boost is that? You know,
Yeah, a boost to who exactly doesn't fill us with confidence.
to him maybe, and
Yeah.
that's it. Um, yeah, going from buying deer to Onana is like going from jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. You know,
Into
you
the
just
fire, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's really
yeah.
unfortunate that we can't address that this summer.
Well, we might, uh, I think we're just focusing on the striker
Hmm.
issue first,
Yeah,
and
they
then
seem to be doing like one thing at a time. I don't know if they're tirelessly working behind the scenes and we just hear the reports about this one thing at a time, but it is kind of frustrating.
yeah, because that's what the old regime actually used to do was one thing at a time.
Yeah, just work on one thing. Yeah. And then this striking thing as well. Like, I mean,
We'll
I thought
get to
Arsenal walked away from Sheshko because of the ludicrous price, and I can see it creeping up there again. And imagine if we just spend from now till deadline day negotiating a fee for him.
well, we'll get that in a wee second. But the goalkeeper situation is the way I see it is if we can get
Hmm.
Donnarumma, that would be out of this world. Failing
Oh,
that,
that would be incredible. I would
feeling that,
happily take a stopgap for a season if that was the
but
plan.
but feeling that, I the more attainable option probably is the Belgian kid from Royal
Yeah.
Antwerp. we should go and get that done because I think that would be relatively cheap, probably under 20 million. That one
Yeah,
would be.
yeah. I think what 16, 17, which in today's market isn't too bad. He's about 23 years old. Obviously, big jump up from Belgium and that, but I think he'll probably come in more so for Bayern and challenge
Yeah,
for the number one position, which would be
yeah.
fair enough.
Mazin Bayindir will go back to the Turkish Super League, and
Yeah.
I, I don't know. I don't know why we bought him, even if it was only
Hmm.
4.3 million, because I remember seeing a compilation as soon as we signed him of all these mistakes that he made at Fenerbahce, and I was like, what are we doing
Yeah,
signing him?
yeah. It was a bit mental, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah. I didn't really understand it either, to be honest. There's been the other rumor has been to the Botafogo goalkeeper, um, John Victor.
John Victor, yeah.
Yeah, apparently he's available for around 6, 7 million. So yeah, and he's 29, vastly experienced.
Yeah, and imagine
I've
they
only
would
seen a handful of games of his though, like at these big tournaments. But yeah,
have had to do extensive scouting in order before they would
hmm,
make a move like that, because
yeah,
he's not played in European football, and
hmm.
you're
Apparently
not
there's
seeing
interest
him
there
on
for West
television
Ham
on a
as
regular
well.
basis. So imagine,
Yeah,
so you couldn't just buy him off the back of the Club World Cup. You'd have to see a bigger body of work than that before you'd make that move.
definitely, yeah, because that's the only times I've seen him is Club World Cup and Copa Libertadores.
Yeah. So that yeah, that's another option. We cannot continue with the same group of goalkeepers. Absolutely not.
No,
So
yeah, the highlight for me with him is just the fact that he just has John on the back of his shirt, which
yeah,
I found quite amusing.
but like most Brazilians, he has about six names, and
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
J-
But
John
on the
Victor.
team sheet, I just think it would just be funny.
mm,
Maguire did it, John behind him.
and I think John Victor is like anglified name again, like
Mm,
Fred.
hmm.
Even though his name's like Federico, yeah, they do
Yeah.
tend to do that. Um, yeah, so looks like Casemiro is not going to be first choice. Not surprised about that, given how much he struggled
Yep.
against Premier League opposition last season. Doesn't look like Harry Maguire is going to be first choice. Looks like
Mm,
Delict got more minutes, I think, in the preseason tour than Maguire, I believe. Interesting that Shaw has played so much, and he,
yeah.
as you said, he did. I love that tackle that he
Hmm.
did against Bournemouth. That was really impressive. Um, so yeah, it looks at the minute that his first choice is Yarrow, Delict, and Shaw. Um,
Yeah.
but Martinez, if he comes back in September, then he'd probably be first choice. I say for me, Heaven would be a rotational option. So would
Hmm.
Maguire. But I don't see us getting one more in that area this summer anyway, because of other pressing concerns elsewhere in the
Yeah.
team. But uh, you mentioned it there earlier. United are involved in negotiations for Benjamin Sesko. Newcastle have already bidded for him. Um, they're willing to pay, according to Romano. Newcastle will pay whatever it takes in terms of transfer fee, wages, agents commission. They pay whatever it takes to
Yeah,
get the
because it's
player.
all going to be covered for them, isn't it? Because if
Yeah,
Isak goes, then it's a nice swift move.
but we're hoping the player will turn around and say, like Mbumo, I want to go to Man United.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we're betting on. But yeah, because Newcastle are in there as well, I do fear the final price. I think it could be somewhat inflated.
Yep, I mean RBL have effectively got what every selling club dreams about. Was it a bidding
Yeah,
war? Um,
definitely. Yeah, and this
but
is there. This is one that we spoke about it ages ago. Potentially Rasmus going the other way, but then all the reports have come out that Rasmus doesn't want to leave. So that's another situation for them to maneuver.
yeah, I've heard that United are willing to accept 30 million for Rasmus,
Hmm.
which would be a loss on the PSR calculator, but
Yeah,
they're willing to do that. But he is not interested in going to RB Leipzig. That's the information that we're receiving at the
which
minute.
is insane. I think that's a very good club for him. They've got a good track record. of developing young players. It's a different league, and I think he needs that. I think he needs a different league.
But
It,
if we
Go
look,
ahead.
if we try and look at it from his point of view, is
Hmm.
that he's a boyhood United fan, doesn't want to give up on his dream, after two
Yeah.
years, and he's looking at that his supporting cast is going to be much better this season with Mbumo and Kuna, and he's thinking, I can do better this season and score more goals. So he doesn't want to give up on that at the moment. So
Hmm.
he's within his rights to do that. It's up to the manager and Wilcox to say you're not part of our plans and you have to go.
Yeah, that's the thing. It can't be down to the player. It's got to be up to management. So they're gonna have to sit down and have a word with him. And if he does stay, then well, that's on them as well.
But it sounds like United are willing to sell. So
Hmm.
that story is certainly not over for this summer. We'll wait and see what transpires there. But
Yeah.
yeah, but United they seem to me like they're being cute. They're not they're not going to put in a bid for Shesko until he says he wants to join Man United,
Hmm.
which is what happened with Mambumo. If United were to bid without Shesko saying that he wants to go to United, then effectively it is a bid more.
Yeah.
United United want the
Basically.
United want the player to commit to coming to United, then that knocks Newcastle out of the equation, and then United can negotiate a price with RBL. That's what United
Hmm.
are looking for. But we're still waiting on the player's decision to be communicated publicly. So we've got all the notifications set up for Romano and Ornstein, and that there's that there's the German Romano as well. I've got the notification set up for him, because he obviously gets a lot of German news first. What is his name
Is
again?
that Plettenberg? Is it
Yeah, Florian Plettenberg.
Florian
Yeah,
Plettenberg? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he's been following this one closely as well. So
Hmm.
I've got the notifications set up in case he tweets something about it. So Jan Agerflurtoft, the former Norwegian striker, who's now a journalist, he's been uh, tweeting about it as well. And he went into depth about the decision making process for the player on his team.
Hmm. But this
And
isn't, just a flash in the pan. Like this is a player that we've been interested in for a
uh,
very long time.
yeah, we've been scouting this player for
Yeah.
ages. You know, like it's been 3 years that we know of, but it could be
Yeah.
even longer than that.
Oh
United, I
yeah.
think.
So I was listening to Andy Mitten, right? And Andy Mitten said he was our number one target last summer, and
Yeah,
United have been following him for 5 years. I was like, wow, okay,
yeah. So nobody can turn around and say this is a panic
yeah,
buy because
yeah. This isn't a panic buy. So this is somebody that we've had our eyes on for a very long time.
yeah. But if he does come in, I'm not expecting 20 league goals right away, given
No,
what
no.
because although he got 21 goals last season and 18 the season before and 18 for Salzburg season before that, when you break it down, he only actually got 13 league goals last season. And
Yeah, that's in all comps, isn't it? Those numbers.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, if a player like him were to come in, I'll be honest, I'm expecting probably 10 to 12 goals in his first season in the league. And if he could get that, I'll be quite happy to be honest.
yeah. I would looking at his compilation of goals. What I would expect in his first season is for him to be a scorer of great goals rather than a great goal
Hmm.
scorer. Uh,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, because some of his goals look incredible, but what you don't see in the compilations is that those moments come once every 3, 4 games.
yeah, he's probably not developed at the rate that United would have hoped for. United were probably hoping that by this stage he'd have had 30 goals in all comps and 20 league goals in the
Yeah, you'd think
Bundesliga.
he would be,
Yeah,
entering his Haaland phase, but it's not that. So people shouldn't get their hopes up if we do sign him, because I know we have a tendency as well to correlate fee to goals and stuff, and it doesn't work out that way. He's not a prolific goal scorer, but what he will provide is, an outlet. And if we have a front three that can give us sort of 12 to 15 each, that's better than one guy that can slap 30 goals.
yeah. Also worth noting that he's already played 41 times for Slovenia and he has 16
Yeah.
goals. Mm.
And I do think though, like unlike when we signed Rasmus, now he wouldn't be thrown in at the deep end. Like, because I know a lot of people fear another project striker coming in, but now with the supporting cast of Cunha and Mboma, I don't think it would be the same as with Rasmus 2 years ago.
Yeah, and if Rasmus was to stay, um, him and Sesko competing for that position wouldn't be
Hmm.
a bad scenario for United. Takes the pressure off both of them, I suppose, just having somebody else there. Rasmus has even mentioned this in recent interviews about their about him being on his own. He said when he first in his first season, Martial was there, and then he got injured, and then he was
And he
completely on his
wasn't
own.
really there in it because yeah, because
Mm.
he's so injury prone. Like, because I remember we were discussing him when we signed. It was like, oh, this is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a young man, and just a lone striker as well, no backup, no experience, just him thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, like everybody said, he should have came in with Harry Kane. You don't bring a kid in who scored 10 league goals in Serie A and make him your
Yeah,
first choice number 9 at Man United. You know,
definitely.
the Man United number 9 and the Man United goalkeeper are two of the most pressurized positions in world football.
Hmm.
To give that position to Hoyland at just 20 years old was absolutely absurd. Even though he did pretty reasonably well in his first season, all things considered, but there was a major drop off in the last campaign.
Oh
Um,
yeah, we saw a player who's completely devout of any kind of confidence. So I was quite happy for him when he got his goal against Bournemouth. It was a nice little finish.
so I know you've been talking a bit about the Brighton midfielder, about potentially signing him. I know he's a player
Believer.
that you like. Yeah.
Yeah, Believer's definitely a player I like. I think he's got a lot of potential. I'm not sure he solves our problems this summer though if he were to come in, and I'm sure Brighton would slap a ridiculous fee on him because that's what Brighton do. Especially because they've got Pryor as well. They'll look at that deal for Casado and think Believer can fetch something similar in a year or two maybe.
Yeah, when you look at what they sold Casado for,
Yeah.
and we've already been done two transfers for Premier League clubs
Hmm.
this summer, which has cost us what up 150
About
million plus.
130 million.
Yeah, so
It's a lot of money.
Brighton are going to charge us probably 70 million for that player, so that's
Yeah, yeah. So so it's a very
total
expensive option. Another
absolutely.
thing as well, I'd proceed with caution because of the number of African players we currently have. Because what you
Mm,
don't want is to build a core where half your team's gone come January for the AFCON.
yeah, yeah. The only saving grace is that Onana will be one of them. Um,
Yeah, that might be the only one, but yeah, like because all of that right hand side is completely gone. So you're losing
yeah,
Mboma, you're losing Ahmad, you're losing Mazraoui. So if you have any injuries as well, the depth is gone. So to add another player on top of that, and as bad as Anana is, he is the first choice, unfortunately, and even him being gone would disrupt things somewhat. And then if you add a midfielder as well, that's a core position and a position in which we already struggle. So yeah, I'd proceed with caution with that one.
hold on, you completely left out our leader, our legend, one of our captains, Diogo Dallo. Yeah, he'd be more than capable of filling in on that right hand side, even as one of the tens. He's that good.
Ay ay ay.
So he would say anyway, I'm sure, but I'm not sure. I'm convinced about that, or 90% of the fan base are convinced about that. Once
uh
again, he started last night's game on the left hand side, and he was atrocious. I just don't
yeah.
understand why we're persisting with that.
I
You
don't know. I don't know.
know,
I
I,
don't
I,
understand that one personally.
if we're going to see Dallo at all, it has to be on the right side. It has to
It
be.
has to be. It has to be. And even then, to be honest, I'll be honest with you. With him, I thought he was better in a back four than as a wing back.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he's just an average player for me. He
Pretty
doesn't
much.
offer enough in the final third, and
Nope.
he's a pretty poor one-on-one defender as well. So
Hmm. Yeah, this is why earlier in the window I was quite perplexed that we didn't go for a wing back. one that's more experienced. Because honestly, I think all of our options are just rotational options. Dorgu, obviously, the jury's still out on him, and he's very, very young and raw, so he could develop into that and what the manager wants. But we have to give it time. I just felt that there was a lot of options out there um, for reasonable price in this market, and we've kind of let it slip us by.
So this summer, if we get the number 9 over the line and we get a goalkeeper over the line, I'll be reasonably happy with that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
anything else is a bonus.
Anything
Um,
else is absolutely a bonus.
and then next summer we'll be looking at midfield, wing back,
Yep.
and centre half. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. And then yeah, there's been some rumors swirling around as well. I don't know how true this is. That apparently Cristiano wants Bruno at Al Nassr. If that's the case, then after the World Cup next summer could be the perfect time.
yeah, that one could be revisited next summer for sure. But
Yeah.
uh, what I understand is that Amram absolutely wanted to keep Bruno this
Hmm.
season, and I'm not surprised about that. I mean, if you're a Portuguese manager and you join the club where Bruno Fernandes is playing for, I mean, you're not going to be in a hurry to get rid of him, are you?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That's your ally in the dressing room, right? And yeah,
yeah.
it's no surprise to me that him and Dallo are part of his dressing room leaders.
Yeah, so next up is 12:45 kickoff at Old Trafford next Saturday, which is effectively a testimonial for David De Gea.
Oh
As
yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when that fixture was announced. It's Dave's homecoming, so yeah, it's gonna be fantastic.
will he play for United in one half of this game? I wonder.
It would be nice if
They
you
can,
did.
I'm not sure that Amram or Fiorentina will be keen on that, but
No, no, but at some point we do owe him a testimonial, though.
yeah, because Amram will see this as an important fixture for preparation for
Yeah,
the.
definitely. So I think they'll keep it professional, obviously, but it would just be really nice to see him again. Because we never really got to say goodbye properly, right? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be good.
Hmm.
You know, I would have him or Henderson back right now because of how poor our
Yeah, who
goalkeepers
would have
are.
thought? Who would have thought? At the
Mm.
time, I couldn't wait to get rid of Henderson, and right now he would be number one.
Yeah, just watching him in the FA Cup final
Hmm.
was making me want to cry, given what we've had to put up with the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
But anyway, we shall leave it there for now. Please, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple, leave us a comment. And I will get back to as many of those as possible. And thanks everybody for listening and watching and downloading. And thank you for all the retweets as well. So I shall see you again next time, Brush.
yeah. Pleasure as always to be here. I'll catch you next time. Take care.
All right.